Well, hi everybody. I am back. This is Lisa, and you are watching Leadership with Lisa. So, been doing it for 30 years, blah, blah, blah. I've said it in many of my videos. I want you just to know that I have done the mentoring and everything else, and I've realized that my advice has really gone a long way for a lot of people. Today, I'm talking about shrink. I'm talking not shrink, but stealing, right? I guess shrink and stealing are the same thing. But there's some ways that, so in the different industries, you've got different ways of dealing with this. I found in clothing that it was about catching the person. And then in a C-store industry, it's about stopping the person. So today we're going to talk about pretty much stopping the person for the most part. I am going to talk about one thing in the beginning that's going to help you kind of catch them. But then I'm going to go into how you really like stop it where it's at. So if this is a problem for you, which it is for many new managers, this video is for you. All right, so the first thing that we're going to discuss is the stopping. Well, it's not stopping it, maybe auditing a person. It's a good practice to show up at your store unannounced, pop open the drawers, and do a quick drawer audit. A drawer audit is simply closing down the drawer, and when you close down a drawer in the C-store, you take the money, right, that you have, you balance it to whatever in your drawer, whatever the cash amount is that drawer is supposed to be holding in the beginning. For us, it was $75. So we'd count it to 75. Everything extra goes into that last drop, and then you get a readout on what it is. Now, the reason why you want to do this in the middle of a shift is one, because if somebody's going to steal from you, sometimes what they'll do is they will put, I don't even know if I have to draw this. I think I'm just going to say it. Okay, so they will put things that tell them what they're taking. So let's say they rang somebody up for a pack of cigarettes for $12.50, right? And they do a no sale, delete what they did and do a no sale, and they pop up in their drawer and they put the money in and they give the guy back. So they know right now that they have $12. They're probably going to round it, right? They're going to round to $13 or $12, but let's say they round it down to $12. What they're going to do is they're probably going to take a dime and 2 pennies and put it over here in a spot outside of their change to keep track of what they're stealing. So that's a way that people do it. It's a good way to catch people. But if don't spend a whole lot of time catching people, not in the C-store business. In the clothing business is all about, catching that person. So that's a different mindset, different way of going things. Honestly, if you're running a convenience store, you really don't want, or you don't need to spend a lot of time on catching them as much as you do on stopping them. Okay? And so what I found to be very, very, very effective on this is by assigning, you want to assign people a few things. Okay? One, I do want to put a disclosure on this that if you're going to do this, you have to do it by shift. Okay? The reason why we do it by shift is for one purpose and one purpose only. So nobody can say that you're accusing them of anything. Okay? So you want to put, like, if you watch my previous video, you'll know that I do my shifts 5 to 2 being me. Okay, that's me. And then I have my second person, 8 to 3, right? And then I've got my next person, 11 to 7, 1 to 9, and 6 to 11. So those are and that's on 190 hours. And if you want to know how that works, and get the other, that video is very informative on how not to work a shift that's not yours. Okay, and I do it in both high volume and low volume stores. But to stop the madness, you want to do it by shift. Okay, so knowing my shifts being 5 to 8 to 11, 8 to 3, 11 to 7, whatever. So what I would do in the situation that I think I'm being ripped off, okay, is I'm going to say that my 8 to 2, or my 8 to 3, and my 1 to 9, okay, I think I have them on 8 to 2 actually. 8 to 2, 1 to 9, okay. Those two people are going to be my safe, I call them safe captains. What does that mean? That means that these are the only two people allowed to vend from my safe. Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to lock down that safe and make sure that nobody else is accessing it. All right? And I have two people accountable for it. Again, what am I doing? I'm doing it by shift. Okay? So my 8 to 2, 1 to 9, what it means is that means that even I will adhere by this rule, because when I divvy this down, I divvy it down as a whole, okay? And if I'm going to hold this man completely responsible, then I'm going to hold him completely responsible. I'm not going to follow that rule. So I'm going to ask 8 to 2. All right, 8 to 2. Hey, I need 5s. Can you give me 5s? He's going to vend the 5s. He's going to push that button. He's going to take the 5s. He's going to say, because 5s are worth $40, there's $40 in 5s in my tube right there, right? If you're in a C-store business, you understand this. This is typically what the amounts that you do. I'm going to hand him $40. He's going to be responsible for putting that $40 back into the safe, throw it into the slot, and he's also, going to hand me my $40, okay? So he's the only person that's touching that safe from 8 to 2, to his point. Now, when he's done, typically, because I'm 5 to 2, I'm going to audit the safe when I go to the bank. And I'm probably going to go to the bank probably around 1 o'clock. But if it's the weekend or whatever, this person right here is going to, what he's going to do, he's going to stick the safe. And I'm going to give him a sheet that looks something like this, and the sheet is just going to basically have all of my stuff that's in the safe. Don't worry about your pennies, okay? Back it up. Pennies sit on the safe. Don't worry about the pennies. But I do want him to stick the safe, and I want him to stick the the nickels, the dimes, the quarters, the 1s, the 5s, and the 20s, which the 20s are the 100s, right? So he's going to stick it, and he's going to put here what that 6 safe is. Boop, ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop. Okay? Now I'm sticking it in the morning, and I'm not vending until he comes, but, he can verify that when he gets there. I always fill my safe first, which we'll talk about in another video on why you'd fill your safe before you start your day, before you even start your money. But, anyway, so we're going to take the nickels, dimes, quarters. He's going to I typically put 12 in there. I had 2 quarters, 12. I had two rows of 5, 24. And then I only did usually 3 20s, okay? So that's going to be a starting base. And then when he checks out, maybe he's got 10, 11, let's say he's got 20 of these, because 4 were whatever, 11 of these, he's got 23 of these, and nobody vended any hundreds. So that's what he writes down right there, and that's his total for the safe, okay? The next person's going to come in, and they're going to verify this count, and then they're going to do the same thing. I do recommend before you go home, you set the safe back to 0, and I always say back to 0, back to your original amount. You always keep your safe at your safe should always be the exact amount every single day when you start your day. Okay? And then when you go to the bank at 2 in the afternoon, you should really be setting your safe back to 0, meaning you should be filling those back up. And then you take those envelopes that people dropped to cover what they were taking out of the safe, and match up to your safe amount. Okay? So that's controlling your safe. Your 1 o'clock person comes in. Maybe they both do the safe. They verify the safe together, and then at 9 o'clock he pieces out and verifies his safe what it is. Now your 6 to 11 person is not to touch the safe. So I always told the 6 to 11 person, if you need anything out of the safe, do it before 1 to 9 leaves and get your money then. If somebody comes in and tries to cash in 100 and you don't have the change because we dropped so often, or somebody won 100 and you couldn't do it because you don't have the change, you simply push no and tell them that you're sorry, you don't have that kind of cash. Because I'm really trying to dial in and stop my theft. Chances are you have an idea who's thieving from you, but you can't pull the trigger unless you have proof. And it's really hard to get proof, so let's just stop it. Honestly, that's the name of the game. That's where you want to be, is you want to stop it, right? This will help you. The second thing that you're going to do, so now you got your safe captains, right? You got your safe captains. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to assign a lottery person. This is on a double coverage store too. Double coverage stores you can do it. This is really for the person who has double coverage. I don't know, on a single coverage store, you would have each person do a lottery count and a safe count with that sheet that I just went through, in order to dial it down that way. And you can do that, and then each shift has their own. This is definitely for like the double covered. So now the double covered people. So you've got your 8 to 2 here and your 1 to 9 controlling your safe, right? Now we're going to do lottery person, which is going to be your 11 to 7 and your 6 to 11, which completely makes sense because you cannot cut off lottery early in your store because you have problems. So you always have somebody that can dial in to your lottery. And I'm going to put myself in this equation, and I'm going to be a lottery person as well until my 11 o'clock person comes in. Okay? Now, my 11 o'clock person comes in. He does a scan on the lottery, and then pulls a report from the lottery terminal, and then puts that information in there, and then he takes complete control until the end of his shift, and then until 6 o'clock until he jumps in for his to-do list, and then 6 to 11 does. So every person who comes in and gets a lottery ticket does it through my 11 to 7 or my 6 to 11. No longer are 8 to 2 or 1 to 9 going to do anything with lottery. Okay? Super important. Separate it. You're separating everybody. And by doing this, you're going to stop your theft. Okay? And then we're going to do one more thing. This last thing is kind of a big thing because it does put a lot of pressure on you. And you can implement these two things without the third thing and probably get pretty good results. But if you're still feeling like there's theft here and you need to control it a little better, color code your envelopes. Do a blue stack, a red stack, yellow, maybe orange, and then assign a color to every shift. What that will do is that will help you dial in when you go to the back. You can break open all your blues, come up with an exact amount that they should have without any effort on your part whatsoever. And then you can do it to the red, you can get your exact amount. You can do it to your yellow, get your exact amount, right? And your orange and get your exact amount, whatever. How many envelopes, how many shifts you have, you should have it. Again, these are done by shifts, never by person. We don't single out people. Singling out people will get it will get your company in a lawsuit. So don't do that, okay? We don't single out people. So, but we can single out shifts, okay? So if you're working, and if you have somebody that works that shift all the time, well then that's the way it is. But at least you're doing it by shifts. Shifts are very important. Anyway, so you go back in the back and you break up, you separate your envelopes by color, and then you simply just break down your blue. And then once you break down your blue, you count that cash, you come up with the amount, $1,340. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number. And on his report, you see that that's what he dropped, and this guy's good. You do that for every single one, and that will help you dial it in as well. Some managers actually have done that just like as a stapled in their stores. I never did. I've only implemented it one time in my store because I found that these two actions and doing night audits with popping open a drawer and just doing a quick night audit really controlled my theft. And again, I really only implemented this other theft right here, or the lottery in the safe captain, when I found that somebody was stealing, and I watched video and I just couldn't catch it. And I didn't want to spend any more time on it. And by not spending any more time on it, and I implemented these, bada bing, bada boom, and honestly, the guy that I thought that was stealing flipped out on me every time I put something into play, and pretty sure he was my man, but doesn't matter, because guess what? It stopped. Yes, we would all like to catch the thief, but sometimes, it looks just as good and even better in the C-store industry if you just stop it. Like, stop the bleeding, okay? And those things will help you. I hope this helps.